Hi guys, I hope you're all well. It's currently Wednesday the 3rd of January 2018 and welcome to our last full day in Sydney. So we wanted to make the most of it, so we decided to book an excursion, a bit of a road trip to the Blue Mountains. We're going to start off in Sydney, obviously make our way over the iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge and then make our way to a town called Lyra. We're going to be stopping in the cafe and having some breakfast. Then we can have a leisurely stroll up and down the Lyra Mall, which is basically the main road through the shopping district. So our first stop in Lyra is going to be the cafe. We need to have something to eat, so we're here to have some breakfast, a nice cup of tea and some toast, just to relax ourselves in, ready for the day ahead. Ultimately, as soon as we've finished our breakfast though, we only have 30-40 minutes in the town before we have to get over towards the main viewing part of the Blue Mountains. So time is short in the town, so it gives us enough time to do a good pottering about, walking up and down the mall, the main road, where they've got lots of the independent local businesses, just to be basically window shopping if that's what you want to do, and just generally just be nosy and just have a good walkabout. I don't know if you guys are the same, but whenever you're in a foreign country or somewhere completely new and you come across a real estate agent, you're always extremely nosy to see what the local property prices are and what you get for your money. Looking at the prices, to me it does look relatively expensive, but I'm guessing it's nowhere near as expensive if you was to have a place bang in the centre of Sydney itself. So it's getting time that we need to be making our way back to our minibus so we can make our way over towards the viewing park at the Blue Mountains. Once we arrived at Scenic World Blue Mountains, Australia, we then had a bit of a queue waiting to get onto the cable car to take us down into the main part of the grounds. So if you're not one for heights, it's probably best not that you view this. So we've got a nice slow steady pace on the cable car, and they've even got a glass walkway in the centre of it, which, as you notice, my mum is not daring to stand on. She was like this when we were in America back in 2010, when we went to the Grand Canyon and we went on to the viewing park on the Indian reservation land, which has got the glass horseshoe shaped skywalk bridge. And she did not let go of the side handrail, and she would not dare to stand and just in the middle of the glass. And it's exactly the same thing here, fearing that obviously if it breaks it's just going to be a long way down. But what a view it will be. So now we're pulling up to the main complex in the mountain resort. You can see the Three Sisters rock formation in the distance. These rocks representing three sisters who, according to Aboriginal legend, were turned into stone. Now they are each given a name, but I'm not going to be able to pronounce them correctly. So if you want to look it up for yourselves, by all means, you can look it up for yourselves. Whilst we were waiting for the second cable car ride to take us down towards the walkway, there were a couple of people holding some reptiles, a snake and a bearded dragon lizard, and to be able to get close and see them in person, and if you're a bit more adventurous like my mum was, to give them a pat, stroke. Anyway, it was time for us to go on to the second cable car, and it was a quick journey down towards the bottom to get to where the walkway through the woodland or bush is. Then it was just a case of having a leisurely stroll along the boardwalk to get an appreciation of the bush, the woodland that you're walking through, the habitat local to the area. But you also had to be quite careful because there are relatively steep declines on the boardwalk, and there are a few warning signs that if there is any wet leaves on the boardwalk, obviously it will make things a little bit slippy. You've got to be conscious of that fact as well. We must have spent about 20 to 30 minutes walking along the boardwalk, but we were trying to get towards the Scenic Railway, which is a very, very steep incline to get back towards the car park and where the bus was waiting for us. Now, as you can see, the Scenic Railway is a very narrow, tightly confined, packed train that is going to take people at a very steep incline, going backwards on this occasion, up the side of a hill or cliff. We are so lucky enough to be the first in the queue for the next train, so we're basically going to be right at the very bottom of the train, which in this case would be the front, as we are waiting for our train to pull up and get into it. Obviously, for me, being relatively big, it was a bit awkward sliding inside of this train, but once you're in it, you're definitely not going to be moving anywhere. Well, I wasn't anyway, because it was a tight squeeze for me. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet now for the next minute or two so you can experience the whole train journey up the side of the mountain or hill or cliff or whatever you want to describe it as. Whatever it is, it's one hell of a steep incline.
Steep.
Once we'd finished the incline of the scenic train, we then made our way over to our tour bus, which was waiting to take us to our next stop, which was the Featherdale Sydney Wildlife Park. So this was an opportunity to see yet more of the native wildlife of Australia. Again, it was relatively a very quick visit to the wildlife park. It was just basically to help break the day out, but also just to see some very cute animals as well. And to see some very familiar faces, of course, that being koala bears, wallabies, kangaroos. Once everybody had finished walking around the wildlife park, there were some larger coaches waiting for everyone to drive them to the Sydney Olympic Park ferry terminal, where we'd be catching a ferry boat down the Parramatta River down to Circular Quays in Sydney. This ferry boat journey took approximately 1 hour from start to finish to get to Circular Quays, and as you can see, the weather was starting to turn. It was certainly getting more overcast, and being on the outside of the boat, very chilly with that breeze in the air. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed today's final day in Sydney. We've tried to cram as much as possible into it, and I think we've been very successful at it too. We've certainly gained some valuable experiences throughout the day, and as I have been doing for the last number of videos, I am going to finish it off by looking back at a few of today's memories in the form of photographs that I've taken. And of course, that is going to be the end of today's video. But if you would like to continue following us along our holiday adventure, by all means, hit that subscribe button. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any future videos which I'll happen to post, which by chance will be tomorrow, by the way. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.